Hi, we've arrived at Fishbourne Palace and our film is going to be about mosaics. We've arrived at Fishbourne Palace. Let's see if we can find some Roman mosaics. Oh look! Here's a good example of a rare Roman mosaic. It's made up of white, black and white, red and grey alternating boxes. In this mosaic there will be deliberate mistakes as the Romans believed that nothing was perfect except for the gods. Shell mosaic. This multicoloured mosaic was laid in the mid-3rd century and replaced in an earlier black and white mosaic floor. It appears to show 2 scalloped shells on either side of the central panel containing fish or dolphins, flanked by a row of diamonds. Some people think that the fish are really peacock's legs and that the shells are its tail, but this is unlikely. Let's now draw our attention to the famous Cupid on a dolphin.
Notice the wine jugs, which are very appropriate in a dining room.
Under this mosaic there would have been a rubbish bin. As we can see, the mosaic has sunk slightly. This is because the rubbish underneath has decayed, meaning the mosaic has gone down. We're now going to experience a short movie. As you may have noticed, many of the Roman mosaics are made up of black and white tiles, put together in a geometrical fashion. Many also had flashes of red colour.
My mosaic floors. They did have mosaics on the walls. We haven't any evidence here that they had mosaics here on the walls.
You may wonder why the museum does not add to the mosaics. This is because they feel that it's more interesting to see the mosaics, how they were found. Just over there we can see where a plough has damaged some of the mosaic. A mosaic, particularly like the dolphin and the Cupid. And how many people do you need it to lay?
Brilliant question. If I tried to lay the Cupid and dolphin mosaic myself, which is about the same size as the floor of this room, it would take about a year putting in the stones. It has about 362,000 stones in it. The whole palace had about 45,000 roof tiles on it. If I was doing it on my own, it would take about a year. But we don't know. That particular mosaic was brought into the palace about 100 years after it was built, because they didn't have those cupboards where
Often after it had been made.
So it could have been, because if you go to Pompeii, you'll see the same patterns coming up. We know that they had factories that did bits of it, so it was brought in a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. This bit's finished, we'll bring it in, we'll put it all in place, and then we'll fill in the gaps.
Right.
So they could have done that, or they could have done it in situ, stone by stone, just brought in the stones. We don't know, we have no evidence as to how that one was made, but because there are 2 hippocampuses and 2 sea jaguars, and the Cupid, and all the bits around the outside, it may well have been brought in sections and then filled in like a jigsaw puzzle.
And do you know if any of them, do you have any evidence if any of them were brought in on this?
Not here, only the evidence that we know that it was done in Pompeii. Whether that idea had come to Britain, because all the stones were locally sourced, they didn't come from far away. Whether they had that ability to do that, whether we had mosaic factories, as it were, in Britain in the 2nd century, we have no evidence for it now, but we know they did in Italy.
Okay. See, mosaics are now very popular in today's society. They now even make replica mosaics for people to buy. Beyond that, many